Welcome back to Autism at Home, brought to you by us at Early Autism Project Malaysia through our non-profit initiative, The Hope Project. My name is Joshebet Isaacs and it's so nice to see you again. I am here today with Yu Chen, one of our senior supervisors at EAP.
Welcome to our 20th Autism at Home series on community skills. The first introduction lesson highlighted the specific challenges that may occur in the community. Then in lesson 2, we talked about having a successful dining out experience before grocery shopping in lesson 3. In this lesson, we'll be talking about going to the shopping malls.
Well, we're not sure about the rest of the world, but here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, we tend to spend quite a bit of family time in the malls due to the heat, traffic, parking, and so it's like a one-stop location where families can get everything done. And our malls here are huge. Therefore, similarly to any other community trip, the shopping mall can present quite a number of challenges to individuals with autism. Perhaps it's sensory-related issues such as noises, lights, and crowds. A child may cover their ears, close their eyes, and may even stiffen their body to refuse to go in any further. Also, there's possibly whining or screaming for when they get upset, when a possible tantrum if they just can't cope with the challenges anymore. So let's just categorize those as code yellow. Then code red would be if a child with autism starts to become a bit aggressive, be it self-injurious or even aggressive to others or to the property in the mall. This could include hitting other children in the playground or even touching another member of the opposite sex in an inappropriate manner. Then of course, code black is when a child may accidentally wander off and basically go missing.
Okay, so let's recap the 5 key community skills a child with autism needs to have in order to be successful in a shopping mall. The ability to cooperate, the ability to be flexible, the ability to tolerate, two-way communication, and to learn the actual expectations.
So when it comes to actual expectations, we need to remember our 3 key ABA strategies of break skills down, reinforce, and practice as well. 90% on preventative and teaching strategies, only 10% on reactive strategies. So firstly, let's look at the area of breaking skills down. Identify the specifics of the actual expectations of going to the mall. From coping with multiple transitions, car park, first store, second store. So in general, just the ability to transition from place to place. Is your child able to do this at home and in less demanding settings? Then in tolerating a new place like a mall. Tolerating sensory-related challenges like those lights, sounds, and crowds. Do they have that ability? Do they have the ability to stay with me, being able to stay together with the family throughout the day and not dash off or wander off? Being able to have personal space with others in public, as well as hands nice, to not touch things or grab things. Then also the ability to have appropriate behavior in high-risk areas such as escalators. Then the ability to be flexible, to wait for family members who may need to pop into different stores or even go to the toilet. Actually being able to go to a public toilet is a whole nother demand. Then the ability to tolerate finishing or stopping a preferred activity in the mall. For example, the escalators or even those carousel activities. Even leaving the mall may be challenging. What about tolerating not getting the item or the food that a child wants? Gradually lengthening the amount of time in the mall from maybe just 10 minutes to 15 to 30, and you could even build up those transitions. So initially just go into one store, then maybe add another store and another. You could also start with a smaller mall before gradually progressing to a bigger mall. And of course, building up a child's tolerance to the crowds. So always start at a very low peak hour, then gradually increase the tolerance to a more peak period.
Whoa, the mall is just next level, and that's almost 15 different areas of breaking skills down. And just like the other lessons, we want to start with just one area and practice it at home first before trying to generalize it at the shopping mall. And again, very importantly, for just a short period of time, start where your child is successful, maybe 5 minutes or even just 1 to 2 minutes. Of course, one last point with the concept of break skills down, we also need to check that a child has the prerequisite skills to be able to start learning this. And that is essentially all the basics of cooperation, flexibility, and tolerance in situations that are much less demanding.
We would say the most relevant cooperation program to teach at home would actually be coping with those transitions, which is the ability to follow a visual schedule, cope with foreshadowing, which is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, First then, as well as the Stay With Me program that your child is able to follow and stay with you in order to have a successful shopping mall trip. You can always go back to Unit 14 on safety, and the 5th video actually teaches you how to be safe in the community through a program called Stay With Me. The 3rd video is also relevant because it's on wandering, which is how some children can go missing, as well as Unit 4 on Autism at Home on teaching cooperation.
Next is reinforcement. Again, utilize the most reinforcing items that will motivate your child to follow the expectation in the shopping mall. This could certainly be natural reinforcement in a mall, such as a sweet treat like ice cream or desserts, or it could be a carousel ride, etc. We really need to observe what it is that is motivating for our children, be it screen time or perhaps even leaving the mall may be the reward. Parents can consider using the iPad for the reward that they can receive intermittently. This means you can time your journey in the mall. Once your child is able to meet all the expectations within a set duration of time, say 5 minutes, then they get an iPad. So you can sit somewhere safe and let your child have an iPad time. Then remember to foreshadow the end of the iPad clearly before we resume walking around. Just be mindful though, parents, that purchasing an expensive toy is not the reward, as that may not be sustainable, especially as we go into the 3rd key strategy, which is provide sufficient practice.
That's right, Yuchen. Imagine, in order to strengthen or master a skill, especially one as complex as this, we actually need to provide that frequent but short and successful visits to the mall. And so just expensive presents or rewards will just not be sustainable. So we definitely encourage parents to practice the Stay With Me program every day, at least 3 to 5 times if you can, and then gradually start to generalize the practice outside your home, in a playground, and then in smaller malls. The more practice, the more successful your child will be.
So, those are all parts of teaching strategies. Remember, 90% is supposed to be teaching and preventative? Well, now let's talk about preventative, and that essentially is plan your trip, prepare your child, practice at home, pack your bag, and prepare for the worst.
Firstly, planning for the trip is very important to set your child up for success. So some simple tips would be, firstly, choose a smaller, less crowded shopping mall with easy parking, and choose a low peak hour to visit. Try to plan your exact walkthrough. For example, where you'll park, is that close to the shop that you're planning to go, which elevator you're going to take, as well as the potential triggers that you want to avoid. Try to start with a very short and successful trip, which you can gradually increase the time and demands as your child is more and more successful. Also, a helpful tip would be to shorten or simplify the trip if you observe that it's already getting a bit too challenging for your child. It's also helpful to call the mall in advance before your trip, just to check if there's any special events that may be happening or that may cause an unusual crowd.
Prepare your child. In the 5 key community skills, item number 4 is two-way communication, and you want to ensure that you are able to communicate to your child in a way your child understands, and visuals are very powerful for this. The basic visuals you could have are a social story. This communicates the key details in a simple way that your child can understand. Visual schedule. A simple visual schedule of the steps for the trip would be very helpful to communicate the expectations clearly. Visual rule card. This would also be very helpful, and the community trips basics would be stay with me, listen to parents, and nice hands. Visual token board. This could go hand in hand with the rule card and schedule, so your child can see clearly the expectations and then the reward. For some children on the spectrum who are more gradual learners, you may need to just simplify just to one expectation, which is stay with me. And for those who are higher functioning, you could even utilize a traffic light system and encourage them to stay on green. You could actually include all 4 of the above into one social story, so you do not have so much to carry about. And of course, you could also make a video model to show your child the expectation. And don't forget, giving your child a way to communicate to you. This could be through PAX visuals or any app on the iPad to communicate.
Thirdly, practice at home. Now, we went over quite a lot of teaching strategies already earlier, and so the main practice in preparation for the shopping malls would still be in the areas of staying with me.
Fourthly, pack your bags. Pop quiz. What do you need to pack in preparation for your trip? Social story with visual schedules and rules, strong rewards, activities to occupy time and redirect, and of course the usual snacks, water bottle, and change of clothes. ID bracelet on your child, GPS tracker or safety harness, noise cancellation headphones. Yes, this is a bit of a trick question. The answer is all of the above, but just the last one if it is necessary and relevant.
Lastly, prepare for the worst. Now, especially in a big shopping mall, there are a lot more potential for code red and code black level of challenging behaviors to occur. And so before the crisis happens, you want to try to prevent it as much as possible. And essentially, all the steps we have just given should help set your child up for a successful event. However, when it comes to the mall, we would encourage a few more specifics if they are relevant and appropriate. Safety being the priority. Parents who have children with the tendency to wander off or dash off may already have invested in an ID tag or tracker or even a safety harness to hold on to their child in public spaces. So we definitely encourage you parents to take those measures if your child is prone to going missing.
Additionally, quite a few malls would have some safety measures in place, especially for children. So do call in advance, or perhaps one parent could go in advance to the concierge and follow a process of identification in case your child gets lost in the mall. Be it an ID tag or a tracker or even just a visual photo that the security team can be pre-alerted. Some malls may even provide child harnesses on loan. You could also request for a stroller or wheelchair if necessary to help bring your child into the mall more successfully.
Also, to prepare for challenging behaviors, parents can be aware of where the toilets and baby rooms are, and some malls even have calming rooms or sensory walls that can help parents prepare for their trip and even prevent challenging behaviors.
For children who have sensory sensitivities, letting your child wear noise-cancelling headphones with their favorite songs playing or gentle music to help calm them down in case they get overwhelmed.
Also have items that can occupy your child during the waiting or transition period. Some of these may include fidget spinners or fidget toys, or a more rewarding item like the iPad. Be mindful though that the iPad could also cause a tantrum if your child is not able to give it up. So it's important that your child is familiar and successful with these activities at home first, of course, before practicing in the real situation of the mall. These items could also be what you redirect your child to in the event of a meltdown.
Speaking of that, 10% of energy on reactive strategies, and so in the event your child has code yellow, such as tantrums or meltdowns, or even code red, aggressive behaviors, you can try your best to not give attention and try to redirect to a more functional activity or to the sensory wall and calming room. But if it does progress to the red, a natural consequence would be to leave and go home. In some cases, you can get the security to help you with your belongings or even to bring a stroller or wheelchair to help transition your upset child. Even if there is one of these red situations, do not worry. You can always regroup and try again. You can do a debrief with your family members or team about what had taken place and how to help them cope better. Once the plan is adapted based on the analysis, you can reattempt. Or if you feel your child is maybe just not yet ready, break down the skills and teach all the prerequisite skills first.
And of course, we need to also be prepared in the event a child gets lost and is nowhere to be seen. The first thing to do is immediately contact the security and concierge, who can alert the rest of the security team and start the search party, as well as looking at all the CCTVs. While it is very difficult, we encourage parents to stay calm and to cooperate with the security by giving the clearest description of your child, including what they're wearing on that day, as well as to identify possible locations your child may have wandered to. We're advised to usually check water-based play areas, but in a mall it may be food-related or preferred activities and play areas. Again, we strongly encourage you to take as much effort to prevent this from happening, and do go back to Unit 14 on safety for more helpful tips.
Now, it's your turn. Firstly, review how well your child does in some of the key cooperation areas in order to be successful in the shopping mall. Cope with easy transitions from one activity to the other. Follow a schedule. Cope with the ending of a preferred item or activity through foreshadowing or first stand. Stay with me. And number 2, which one of the above do you need to start practicing first at home, and do you need to refer to the previous teaching modules in Unit 4 or Unit 14 on these? Lastly, plan your trip to the mall. Choose a suitable mall at a suitable low peak period time. Call the mall in advance if necessary. Prepare your key materials and proceed with the practice.
Well, that's it for this lesson on going to the mall. Remember the key strategies of break skills down, reinforce and practice, as well as 90% preventative and teaching, hopefully resulting in only 10% reactive. And before you practice, do remember to plan your trip, prepare your child, practice at home, pack your bag, and prepare for the worst.
Thank you for your support, and with the amount of interest we have received online, we have actually started providing online services and currently work with clients in other states of Malaysia, New Zealand, Philippines, Singapore, Switzerland, Indonesia, China and Brunei as well. So do scan this QR code and get in touch with us for more information.
And if you haven't already, do check out our free online resource platform, Autism at Home, which has all the corresponding articles and downloadables for you. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram and Facebook to stay updated. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.